is Dr. Mark Hitchcock here from Edmond, Oklahoma for another episode of Marking the Times. Thank you so much for joining us again for this episode. I've really enjoyed spending this time with you every week, and I hope you're enjoying it as well. I know many of you are sending in questions for us. I know some of you are participating in this and enjoying it. We answer questions here, kind of give some prophecy updates. There are a lot of interesting things happening in the world today. I'll try to give a little bit of an update next time, maybe on a few things that are taking place. But I got a question this week, and it's one I think I answered several weeks ago, but I want to answer it again because it's asked so many times, and some of you may not go back and look, kind of some of the archived episodes, and may just kind of be keeping up with those that are coming out every week. And the question that was sent in is, where is the USA in Bible prophecy? Where's America found in the Bible? And I've mentioned this to you all before, I know, but that's the number one question really that I get asked all the time. People ask that with great frequency. And again, if you live here in America, we want to know the answer to that. And I think even people in other places often ask that question. And I've taught on this before, but I want to break it down maybe a little bit even more simply. There are 4 places in the Bible that people believe they found America mentioned in prophecy. Now, everybody agrees the word America or United States doesn't appear in the Bible, but these are some other kind of more veiled references to America people believe they've discovered. I'll just mention these quickly. One is that America is Babylon in Revelation chapter 17 and 18, this great kind of global city, this great center of world commerce. There are a lot of reasons why I don't hold that view. Some of those go to the fact that, it would have meant absolutely nothing to the people he was writing to at the time. They didn't even, have any idea about America, obviously, at that time. But there are other factors in that chapter. It talks about, whatever Babylon is. Babylon's a city. It's not a whole country, it's a city. Some will say, well, it's New York City. But it talks about how Babylon kills the prophets and the people of God. Clearly, New York City has not done that. So there's all kinds of things, details in the chapter that don't fit, even though some people have come up with long lists of reasons why Babylon is New York City. Other people will say that America is the 10 lost tribes of Israel. View is called British Israelism sometimes, that England is the 10 lost tribes, that America came from there. So in some way or connection, we're the 10 lost tribes. I think I mentioned this to you all before, but the 10 tribes aren't lost. Many of the people from the 10 tribes taken away by the Assyrians in captivity in 722 BC actually came back with the exiles from Babylon who came back from Judah. Also in the New Testament, people that are related to the 10 tribes are mentioned there, like Anna in the temple in Luke chapter 2. It tells us she was from the tribe of Asher, which is one of the 10 tribes. So clearly they weren't lost. Another place people find America is Isaiah 18. There's an unnamed nation there. And people say, well, that's a veiled reference again to America. But if you read the passage, it seems to be referring to the Cushites that live down south of Egypt. Another passage that could have a little bit more merit to it is in Ezekiel 38. It says there that Sheba, Dedan, and the merchants of Tarshish with all its villages, or literally the young lions, will say to you, have you come to capture spoil? Have you assembled your company to seize plunder, to carry away silver and gold, to take away cattle and goods, to capture great spoil? So what this is referring to is some nations that are going to give a protest, kind of a lame protest, to the Gog-Magog confederacy as they're pouring down into the land of Israel. And it says the nations that will protest this Russian Islamic invasion of Israel in the end times are Sheba, Dedan, and the merchants of Tarshish. Well, Sheba and Dedan are places on the Arabian Peninsula today, really that would be a little bit of the more moderate Arab states there. So we could see how they would lodge that kind of protest. But it mentions the merchants of Tarshish. Now, in the ancient world, Tarshish, there was a Tarshish, a Phoenician colony in Spain. Others think Tarshish here is a reference to a place that was in England. But either way, people will say, well, out of Spain, Columbus discovered America. You go out of England, obviously that's where America came from originally. That by extension, that the merchants or the young lions, the nations that come out of Tarshish, is a reference here to America. Now that's possible, but to me it's so tenuous that I don't think we want to make anything steadfast or dogmatic about this passage here. I think it's best to just say we don't find America mentioned anywhere in Bible prophecy. which then raises the question, well, what's going to happen to America? Surely if we're still a great power in the end, we're the greatest power in the world economically, politically, militarily in the world, if we're a great power, wouldn't we be mentioned? Well, I think the fact we're not mentioned is interesting. You say, well, then, if America is not going to be a great power, what will happen? Well, there are a lot of plausible scenarios of what could happen, some kind of nuclear 9/11, some type of economic implosion that takes place here. Now, I know many of you know my view on this, but I think it could be the rapture of the church. Around 8% of the people in America probably are true believers in Jesus for most of the polls I've seen. And again, you think if 8% of the people in America are believers, that's 30 million people that are gone in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye at the rapture. And again, America, we have a lot more believers here than most other countries do, in spite of all the problems we have. So that could be what devastates our country and causes us to become part of one of these other alliances that will form after the rapture takes place. But anyway, I hope that's helpful. I won't answer this question again for a while, so I don't think I'm going to be talking about it over and over again. But I think it's something people ask about often, and I think it's an important issue that people want to know about. And maybe this will help you, as maybe people you deal with in daily life ask you about that. You'll maybe be informed to help give them a biblical answer to that question. So God bless you again. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again next time.